All right, I got to tell you about my latest trade. I feel like a real idiot right now, and I want you to watch this entire video and see what you think. Comment in the bottom. I do end up like this every now and then, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it because, I'm human and I spend an inordinate amount of time teaching rather than just trading. But here's ADXS, my last three trades on the stock. Nothing really to write home about. I made $1,400, which, $1,400 in a day of work, that's pretty good for most people. For me, I'm closing in on 4.2 million in total profits, so not really that great. And worst of all, I've wasted a really good opportunity. The good news, the saving grace, is that my students have made over $120,000 now shorting this pump. Here is ADXS, and you can see it's come down from the 13s down to 10. So a nice 30% drop. In the past few days, it's had some serious gains, and this is all based on promotion. Zacks Small Cap Research, which is the unethical small cap pumping arm of Zacks. Zacks is usually a pretty credible company for earnings estimates, but they have this little subsidiary, different legal structure to protect them legally that basically promotes small cap companies using the Zacks name and some CFAs who have basically sold their soul to the devil. But all pumps end. This is the gift and the curse of them. And they end pretty badly pretty quickly. And so right here is dropped. I was shorting it yesterday, starting in the 12s and covering in the 11s. And I missed pretty much this entire drop, especially today, from the high 11s down to the high 9s. So a nice $2 a share drop, and I missed it. And I feel like an idiot. And I'll tell you exactly why and what happened. Today I was actually dip buying it twice. And this is a huge mistake, and it was because I was not fully prepared with what was going on today. I give a weekly webinar to my Trading Challenge students every other week. It's a live trading webinar, and it's cool to share my screen, and my Trading Challenge students get to see exactly what I'm trading, why, when, how. But unfortunately, the problem with it is that I am very limited with what I can do because I'm narrating, I'm basically audibling trades, and I'm answering questions, and that kind of hurts my trading and research abilities because I'm not able to really look at everything that I normally would look at because I'm trying to multitask. And I did do trades. I made a few $100s today, but I would never have gone long if I had been in my chat room right here. This is the Tim Alerts chat room, and seen this from Trinity Trader. And looking at emails now. I don't check emails when I'm giving live trading challenge webinars. Normally I'm checking emails pretty often. Traders are usually emailing me tips. It's kind of cool to have a whole network full of traders. And several people emailed me about this, and this was posted in my chat room. And this was a Seeking Alpha expose that came out right this morning at 9:30 a.m. Heavily promoted and misleading investors. And this is pretty much everything I knew about the company, how it's promoted, and it's misleading. And I would never have been dip buying had I bought this or had I seen this. But I didn't. If you guys were in my Trading Challenge webinar, I didn't see this for an hour. I didn't see this until 10:30 a.m. because so many people are asking questions in the Trading Challenge webinar. I'm behind on the chat room of the webinar, let alone barely even looking at my own chat room. So props to Trinity Trader for publishing this Seeking Alpha link just 2 minutes in. And, V. Castro also said this article just launched that mentioned it was heavily promoted, Seeking Alpha. And I said, congrats to shorts. I probably would have been faked out at the open anyway. And that's correct. I don't feel like an idiot for covering yesterday. To play it safe here at, in the 1160s. This morning it did gap up a little bit to the 1190s, so I probably actually would have, really lost money because I play like such a wuss. But what I do feel like an idiot about is, not knowing this entire drop from basically 12 down to 10 it was the result of the pattern. This is a pattern straight out of my Penny Stocking Part 2 DVD, which is cool that it still works. But this expose, really was the catalyst that it needed to drop. And, when you have that, it's just, I gave the analogy in my Trading Challenge webinar. It's like, pushing a suicidal man off a cliff. It doesn't matter exactly what the reason is. When the suicidal man is deliberating at the top of the cliff, should I jump or not? All it takes is a little push. And that expose was the push that ADXS needed to really have a nice panic after, taking out the low of the day yesterday in the 1160s, 1150s. And had I seen that expose, I would have been shorting this. Interactive Brokers did have 60,000 shares to short. E-Trade actually is my new broker, and they have shares to short, surprisingly. My high net worth broker had shares to short, and SureTrader had shares to short yesterday. So a lot of people who shorted yesterday are banking quite nicely today. So you don't just have to day trade these stocks. You can hold them overnight. It's actually better. But I missed that entire expose, and I was giving my webinar la-di-da, and I was congratulating people, but I was really kind of surprised that the stock was dropping so much. And the reason why I'm making this video, the reason why I'm proud to say that I was an idiot, is because I was doing it in the service of my Trading Challenge students. If I don't give these live trading webinars, then my students don't learn as much, but I probably would have been short, 5 or 10,000 shares and made like $5 or $10,000 today. So do I really need another $5 or $10,000 in trading profits? No. Would it have been nice? Sure. But were my students, benefited by my even watching this stock and giving the webinar and answering the questions, even if I didn't have all the information? Because, frankly, that's just what happens when you give a webinar. You don't have access to as much information as I normally do. So, the cool thing is I want to give props to my students. At 9:50 a.m., after it was already dropping a little bit to 11-ish, I said, how much is everyone making? Stan Bregan made $1,800. On stocks made $250. MCDR covered a third. He made $100. Dave Trades made $500. MV Castro made $300 on a $2,500 account, and $300 yesterday. So he made $600 on a $2,500 account. That's a whole year for a normal mutual fund. Trader 58 made 180. Squanto was still short from 12.12, so hopefully Squanto still has the short. That's a nice 20% plus gain. Mark Muniz shorted at 11.91. Shy Guy, who locked in 22,000 yesterday. He's in my Small Cap Millionaire longer term newsletter, and he banked on VUZI. He held far longer than I did, and he tripled his money on that pick. But he made basically another $1,600 shorting at 12.68 and covering at 11. M Zingster shorted at 11.78. Here's Tom G, covered half at 10.65. On stocks, short at 13.40 to 10.40 in 2 trading days. Here's MCDR, covered the rest at 10.50. Didn't play that one good, but made 3.50 regardless. Tom G shorted at 11.78, covered at 10.55. But this last one is what makes me feel the best. Pyren says, we love you, Tim. We're all successful here because of you. Keep on rocking on, or keep on keeping on. And that's what it comes down to. I will screw up on trades for any number of reasons. I'm traveling, I'm impatient, I'm wrong about a stock. Any of these reasons can really be applicable to why I screw up. And a lot of people, say that I'm selling this dream, and that this $4.2 million is best case scenario. And that's just not true. Yes, I've made $4.2 million. Yes, I show every trade, but I am nowhere near best case scenario. I was dead on about ADXS being a great short over the past 2 days. I mean, this was pretty much the only stock I was watching. You Trading Challenge students, please do rewatch that webinar, and you'll see that, even if I thought that there would be a squeeze, even if there wasn't, I didn't know that there was a Seeking Alpha expose, the main thing that I was looking for yesterday, this is what I said yesterday. I said reshorted for probable morning panic gap down. And I played this one too safely because I tried to like kind of outsmart myself because it was a crowded short because there were a lot of other, short sellers who were short. But in this case, the crowd was actually right, which usually doesn't happen. The that expose changes everything. And I do feel like an idiot. My trading challenge webinar would have been infinitely better had I been aware of that expose. As I said, I would not be dip buying. Some people were confused as I'm looking in the chat room later on now. Now that my webinar is done, they're like, Tim, why are you dip buying this stock that just had an expose? And I didn't know for the first hour. I know that sounds convenient, and some people are going to be like, oh, Tim, you're just making an excuse why you didn't hold. But it's the truth. And my trading challenge students can attest. Somebody commented in the webinar itself, but I was so far behind on the comments, I didn't see that comment until like 10:30 a.m. And by that time, the entire move had already been made. So let this be a lesson to you that I will sacrifice my trading profits in order to teach. Usually, well, not usually, but sometimes teaching actually helps me avoid stocks because then I'm like too busy, making video lessons or blogging or answering questions or giving webinars where, normally I would be trading. I have to control my addiction to trading. But, a lot of the times it hurts. And that is the price you pay as a teacher because I'm trying to multitask and I'm not in the right setup to be the best trader possible. So some people say, Tim, you know so much, why are you only up 4.2 million? Well, again, every few years I lower my account to trade with less. I was going to lower it to 100,000 on January 1st. The past few weeks have been crazy, me trying to finish the How to Make Millions DVD, which is finally finished, 34 hours long. Thank you. Just got finished, and we're going to be uploading it next week to Profitly, and we've already uploaded 24 hours. But between the finishing of the DVD, which I actually wanted to finish before I went to Bali, I didn't even finish, and then planning my trip to Bali and proposing to my girlfriend, and she said yes, thank you for all the well wishes. I'm just not well set up. Like I don't have my multiple monitors. I'm sitting right now on a couch, with a laptop as I do most of my trades. Still trying to figure out the hottest, the fastest Wi-Fi connection because every now and then my Wi-Fi has gone out. I am not set up to be the best trader possible. I am optimized to be the best teacher possible. And that is going to influence my trading profits. So when you look at this 4.2 million, don't think to yourself like, oh, Tim is special. He's so good. I can never make 4.2 million. That's bullshit. Any of you can make 4.2 million, especially if you're not giving webinars or making video lessons intraday or not traveling or doing press. I mean, there's so many things that I do wrong. SMSI the other day, I spotted it in the 140s before it jumped to the 170s, and I bought it from a freaking airport lounge, in Hong Kong. And some people are like, oh, I have a job, I have school, I have a pet, I have a loved one, I have friends, I have family. And you make any number of excuses why you can't trade. I am nowhere near best case scenario. I am an idiot sometimes, like today, where I didn't even have all of the news and I'm trading, without knowing everything. And that's really pisses me off. I don't regret covering yesterday, playing it safe and locking in $1,200. I regret not knowing the news today, and I wish I could do more, and give a webinar and see everything in the chat and do all this, but I'm just an average guy and I'm overloaded. So please look at this 4.2 million and realize that it might not happen all at once for you. You might not make 4.2 million in a year or 2 years or 3 years or even 5 or 10 years. But this is fully achievable with these patterns. And any of you who made 50 cents, $1 a share, $2 or $3 a share shorting ADXS the past 2 days, even if you're shorting with 100 shares or 500 shares, that same kind of trade, if you grow your account and you scale up your position and you're shorting 5,000 shares, I mean, that could be a $10, $15, $20,000 profit in a day or two. So just understand that and really understand the possibilities where I am just scratching the surface with my few millions of dollars. And this is why I'm so confident then I'm going to have more millionaire students, especially millionaire trading challenge students, because you see exactly what I'm doing during these live webinars. So I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, but props to you guys.